Hello, everyone, and it's the Happy Hump Day edition of Palmetto Sports Daily. I'm Rick, holding it down in Columbia, joined today by Ella in Greenville. We've got Jill down on the Grand Strand, and Kevin in the port city of Charleston. Hope everyone is doing well here as we're halfway through another week. Let's talk some Gamecock football. The Gamecocks are through 5 preseason practices. They've got 18 more to go before they kick off the season September 5th against Kent. And Shane Beamer gave us an update on the progress of his offense. And this is a big week for South Carolina. They'll put on full pads for the first time on Friday. Then Saturday, they'll go into Williams-Brice Stadium for their first scrimmage of the preseason. Now, here's Shane Beamer talking about the progress the offense is making so far in the early days of camp.
I like where we are. I think Kendall's done a great job in the offensive staff from an installation standpoint of, it's not just overload, just so much coming at them each and every day. It's really, here's what we're going to focus on these next couple days, and then here comes the next installation for a couple of days, and allowing those guys to really get a feel for things. But like where we are, and then as we go through the rest of the week and into the weekend, really for me, it's, and we talked to our players about it this morning, here's what we need to see this week, and it's making sure that we just continue to practice this week with the effort that's our standard, the physicality that's our standard, the focus and attention to detail that's our standard, and that's obviously offense, but that's defensively, special teams as we go through the week.
All right, 5 practices in the book so far, and they have a scrimmage this Saturday. Of course, the times we're out there at practice is only for like the first 10 or 15 minutes, and we don't get a chance to see all that much, so we really don't get to see how the offense is really clicking or how sharp the defense looks. We can just go by what the coaches tell us and what the players tell us. So we have to wait until September 5th. To really see the team on the field against an opponent, to see how they're shaping up in 2026.
Rick, you mentioned the coaches telling you things. I am really curious. There was so much that needed to be fixed when it comes to this Gamecocks offense. I mean, 43 sacks on Lenora Sellers last year. You bring in, I think it's like 14 new offensive guys, and then obviously a brand new offensive coordinator in Kendall Briles. Just with all of the changes that needed to be made, what are you hearing is the biggest difference from Kendall as an offensive coordinator? I mean, clearly it needs to be a huge difference. Just what have you heard and what have you seen?
Well, last season and watching the Gamecocks play, you almost could see the confusion with the offense and just some of their alignments on plays. And I'm sitting there going, this isn't going to work. Or is this the right call for this down and distance situation? Is Lenore's having to think too much? And so what we heard from the players is that, hey, we're playing fast. It's a lot simpler, not having to think as much. So if that means that they're going to be more proficient when they kick it off on September 5th, then great. But last year it did seem like the offense was bogged down too much. Now, you mentioned those coaches, a new offensive coordinator. Well, they have 5 new assistant coaches in addition to Kendall Briles, the new OC. You have a new running backs coach in Stan Drayton, and you also have a new offensive line coach in Randy Clements. Now, they had the spring to work with the guys, and then they've also been able to work out with them some during the summer as they get acclimated to the players and also to working for USC and living in Columbia. Here's Shane on how the new coaches are blending in.
Productive 4 days, and then really again, these new coaches saw them in spring practice, but now they're more acclimated to what we're doing after going through spring practice, going through the summer with our players, and like where they've picked up and kicked things off this year. Great, whether it's the returning coaches or newer coaches, they're great teachers. There's great intensity out there by our coaching staff. There's great energy. There's There's urgency in everything that we're doing, and that's very evident every time we take the field. So like the way that our guys are working, players, coaches, and staff.
Yeah, now Shane mentions the intensity, and that's one thing I did see in the brief amount of time we're out there on the field. The passion that the coaches are attacking their work, and it just looks like they're working with a sense of urgency. Like, yeah, we know last season was bad. We've got to get it straightened out. We've got to be ready for September 5th. So we're looking like a team that is confident and ready to stack up some W's.
One thing that I did love that I want to point out was the Carolina band polo. Love the good shout out there. It truly does take a village for everyone to do well on that field. But another thing that he mentioned was the installments, because one way to get an offense confused learning a new offense is to throw everything at you at once. So just making sure everyone's on the same page before they go into that scrimmage. Otherwise, like, you have little things falling through the cracks, and you want everyone to be firing on all cylinders and making sure those installments are in place. And that's something that Lenore Sellers did say, is that this offense is easier for him to grasp, which should make better and quicker decisions come game time.
Yeah, you mentioned the band shirt. Well, the Monday was an off day. They didn't practice, so Shane went and spent some time with the band to tell them, hey, how much he appreciates them. And just like the football team, they're out there on the field working through the dog days of summer. That's going to wrap up this first segment of Palmetto Sports Daily. We're taking a time out, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We've talked Gamecocks. Now we got to talk a little bit of Clemson. We heard from head coach Shane Beamer yesterday and from head coach Dabo Sweeney in a record-breaking Dabo Sweeney press conference. We all know Dabo likes to give long-winded, very interestingly worded questions. You get lots of analogies in there. It's all he could be a pastor if, down the line, that's what he chooses to be. Long story short, his press conference was 21 minutes long. It seemed like he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder in this press conference. Kind of felt like he was keeping his cards close to his chest. And they're about a week into practice here. And when we spoke to him the last time, it was his first day of fall camp practice. And he said, I have no starters. Doesn't matter who you are, I have no starters. And a week later, he's sticking to that, pushing that competitive mindset heading into fall camp. Here's what he had to say about if anyone's standing out to him or if there are any starters yet.
Just in the early on field work, has anybody maybe popped out or surprised you in a way, just in terms of their progression from the spring to the summer?
No, everybody's just working. There's a bunch of nobodies. We'll see. We'll see if anybody becomes somebody as we play some games.
Well, just a bunch of nobodies out there. What do you guys think about that statement? I've heard some mixed reviews. I personally like it. He's pushing his guys. He's pushing the narrative that you have to earn your own spot. But I know other people have different opinions. Just Rick, I guess I'll start with you. How would you feel about being a nobody on Dabo Sweeney's team?
Yeah, I'm wondering, is the man angry? Even the look on his face is not typical Dabo. And perhaps he is sending a message to the guys like, hey, you've got to show me a little bit more if you want me to start talking about you, because right now you guys aren't getting it done. And, normally Dabo is like cheerleader number one. So maybe it's a different approach for Dabo here in 2026. I want to see if this is going to continue.
Ella, what did you guys do to Dabo? I mean, that is quite possibly the shortest answer he has ever given in whatever it's been, 18 years as the head coach. That was barely 10 seconds. Does he know it's the middle of August and we've got time to kill on these shows?
I know, I was a little nervous. I thought we made him mad in there. It was very uncharacteristic of Dabo, but it certainly was very entertaining to just kind of get his raw emotions and reaction following a practice. I don't know if something happened at practice that he was a little fired up about, but he did have other great statements that he made throughout the press conference, which kind of brings us to our next point. We talked a lot about Jervy Meadows. If any of you guys know anything about Clemson football, you know during preseason camp, they like to switch things up. They like to kind of suffer a little bit. So they go from their state-of-the-art facility to a parking lot, basically. Head coach Dabo Sweeney has said before, there's chicken wings out there, there's sand, there's no tree coverage, it's miserable. And that's the point. Here's what he had to say about heading out to Jervy Meadows and their first day of full pads.
It just get them out of here. Change the monotony of camp. We've been here all day, every day. Been going for a week. Everything's perfect here. That's part of it. Just change the scenery. And as y'all know, there's not much shade over there. And again, it's not perfect. It's probably about as good as Jervy can be. JC does a great job Casey does a great job with our fields, and it's literally probably as good as it's been. And it's basically a parking lot, but we go over there and just kind of. I think it just creates one more layer of mental toughness that you got to kind of battle through.
Well, I just looked, and it is currently 95 degrees here in Greenville. So those guys are certainly out there growing that mental toughness. And you got to imagine with first day of pads, too, that adds another 5 degrees of heat, if not more, with all that clothing on you. So I love that he brings him out there and keeps pushing him. And it seems like this is just the general theme of 2026 preseason camp for these Tigers, Joe.
I mean, that's got to be absolutely brutal in those pads. I don't even want to imagine, how hot it has to be for them. But it's just more of setting the standard that no matter where you are, you should be playing the same. It's that mental toughness aspect that he did talk about, whether you're on your home field, you're away traveling for hours and hours, you still show up the same. However, I would be a little scared to be showing up via his answers as of they're just a bunch of nobodies, because clearly he's not too happy with what has been going on at practice. I would be scared if I was on that Tigers team right now, because they clearly need to prove something to him, that they aren't just a bunch of nobodies, that they are somebodies.
To play a little bit of the devil's advocate, I do think that a huge part of this is what happened last year. I think that Dabo was hyping up a lot of his team. I was even listening back to the press conference from Jervy Meadows' practice last year, and he was so confident in what they were bringing to the table. And then obviously it was one of their worst seasons in 15 years, 7-6 record, very abnormal for them. That I feel like this year he's just keeping his cards close to his chest and letting the record and what they do in these games kind of speak for itself. Kevin, what do you think about this? Or Rick, whichever one of you would like to speak on the matter.
Okay. I just harken back to the days of Steve Spurrier, and there were times he would go, "Oh man, we're in a world of hurt here. There's no way we're going to be ready for this game," and then they go out and look like world beaters. So I think Dabo may be taking a page from the HBC's playbook. What do you think, Kevin?
No, Spurrier had the classic press conference right after a practice that's been kind of circulating on social media the last week or so, where he comes over and he talks about how the quarterbacks can't throw, the receivers can't catch, the kickers, couldn't make it either which way for a field goal. They would just hit the post and they had no shot. If this is Dabo's way of doing that, this is a much tamer version. But like I said, he's stealing from us at this point, because we need to be filling this time with classic Dabo 45-second answers to get through a show. And these 10-second bites that Dabo's giving just ain't going to cut it.
I know. We need him to be back to his normal self. We will be talking to him again on Saturday after they have their first scrimmage in Memorial Stadium. He did give a 2.5-minute answer about that. That was the longest answer he gave. He went on and talked about the importance of simulating a game, especially in an environment like Death Valley, before they head to the other Death Valley, LSU, on September 5th. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick timeout here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back.
Back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We talked a lot about some college football, but now we're going to talk about some high school football. As producer Nick, you can almost smell it in the air, and here you can. It's actually the C&B Kickoff Classic, which is the official start of Week 0. I know everywhere has their own little jamboree of scrimmages that gets all of these schools together. But here, this is a Grand Slam tradition for Horry County schools. It's the 36th edition. It actually happens at Coastal Carolina's Teal Field, which all of these players get very, very excited about. It's the highlight of their year, obviously, outside of playoffs. The teams will include Conway, Aner, Waccamaw, Socastee, Green Sea Floyd, St. James, Carolina Forest, North Myrtle Beach, and Loris. This is all happening Friday starting at 6, so there's going to be a lot of new faces and new players, and a lot of these teams have their own stories, whether it's new players coming in, new coaches. There are a lot of new coaches this year, actually, but they all echoed a very similar message on how important this kickoff classic is to their team and to the community.
I'm super thankful to the people at Conway National Bank's parents, Coach Jordan, these guys who have set this up, because this is some of the most fun our kids will have all year. They talk about it. Honestly, we're trying to set standards about kids coming over the summer and kids coming to practice, making football important at St. James High School. And they're like, Coach, I said, you missed practice. You're not playing in the Conway Kickoff Classic. And they're like, Coach, that can't happen. I got to play on that teal turf.
So those players will be playing on that teal turf come Friday. It's very exciting. That's a new head football coach of St. James, Stephen Cagle. He's taking over the program after not the best record. He's trying to turn things around over there. But this media day, if you will, luncheon was filled of athletic directors, coaches, media, including me and the other stations here, myself. But one thing that head AD of Horry County, Jason Cox, had to say was that this isn't just for the players. It's so important for friends and family to come together as well, especially after the realignment of regions, even though a lot of these teams have them on their non-region schedule, but there's no longer in the same region. So it's nice to have them all at the same place at the same time, because that doesn't really happen too often until you hit playoffs and postseason.
And this is the beginning of the year, not just for football, but for all of our athletics and for our school year every single year. And for our student athletes to have an opportunity to come out and play here at Springbrook Stadium at Coastal is an awesome opportunity for our kids, and just real excited for them each year to do so.
These players are all very excited. One of the other things that these coaches did mention is that a lot of these kids and players, this is going to be the last time they'll ever put on a uniform this season if they are a senior. So it's very special that they get a chance to play at their local college field. I'm curious, you guys, how is the high school football energy flowing in your area? Everyone's getting pumped up, excited. Week 0, it's really the countdown to the first regular season game.
Yeah, well, we have a couple of sports-aramas and jamborees here, and they've made some adjustments because of the heat. The temperature here on Friday is supposed to reach 100 as a high, and we had some of these games starting at 6 o'clock, so they moved them back an hour. And then the Lexington County Sports-arama, they were going to take place at Lexington High School, but they decided to split it up. 2 games at Lexington High, 2 at Pillion, so they could start later and also end earlier than originally planned, just because of the heat, which is going to be brutal not only on the teams but also the fans coming out to watch. But yeah, I call this weekend, it's the final dress rehearsal before the start of the regular season, so always look forward to this weekend.
I like that, a little dress rehearsal. Maybe you should go into theater, Rick. But no, I'm very excited about this weekend. We're seeing how the heat is going to impact us in general. As of right now, we're good to go. Got a little bit of a sea breeze going on, but you never know with that heat and what's going to happen. But hopefully everything stays on track and we'll get all of that information together on Friday. All right, we're going to hit a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We wrap up with a story about golf from over in Missouri, and this kind of went viral over the weekend as a guy got caught faking a hole-in-one playing in his club amateur tournament. So what happened was this guy was playing in a foursome, told the other three guys that his grandmother was sick and he might have to break away at some point during the round to get a call about how she's doing. They said that was fine. He actually, after they were finishing a hole, he ran up to the next hole, told them he was going to tee off right before he got on the phone as they were still putting on the previous hole. And as he does that, he takes his tee shot, ducks in to take the phone call. When the guys go up to the tee box, they get to the next hole, and they find the ball in the hole. So everyone assumes he's got a hole-in-one. When they go back, they're telling the story to everyone at the club. The club says this sounds a bit fishy. They go back and check the tapes they have, and they realize that this guy was there early in the morning setting it up to make it look like he had a hole-in-one, so he cheated the whole thing. Just a disgusting story, Rick, of a guy just cheating for a hole-in-one.
I mean, this is incredible to go through all of that, getting there early, putting the ball in the cup. The story about grandma. He shouldn't be allowed on a golf course, not only in the United States, but in the world. That's just diabolical and so disgusting.
I mean, it's not like a game of pool where you're walking by and maybe you could slip your hand into the pocket and a ball can go in. Like, oh, hey, by the way, while you weren't looking, I just so happened to get a hole-in-one. That's, like, obvious, like, that's not how that works.
Just to bring grandma into the mix is just disgraceful. What an abomination of a golf player. I'm so disappointed in this. And the poor grandmother, that's what really gets me, Kevin.
Well, how do you not check for I mean, this guy should be in jail, not just for faking a hole-in-one, but for being too stupid to realize that there's cameras everywhere on the course and he was going to get caught. That's going to wrap it up for Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.